Dobrý den, vítejte u magazínu Svět, okem Raptora. Dnes se podíváme na to, jak se v Číně daří řetězci Ikea. Probereme problém s vypuštěním vody z havarované elektrárny Fukušima. Dále si ukážeme, jak tuniská pobřežní stráž zachránila 63 migrantů. Další reportáž nás zavede do Nigérie, kde řeší problém s cenou plynu. A do čínské provincie Guangzhou a její podpoře financování městských nemovitostí. Společnost Ikea v 90. letech otevřela v Číně první obchodní dům. Dnes Ikea disponuje celým řetězcem obchodů. Generální ředitel Ikea China Pontus Erntel se s námi podělil o strategii společnosti v Číně.
Now for more on the company's view of China's market potential, we're joined by Ikea China President Pontus Erntel. Pontus, great to have you on the show. So first, what is Ikea's investment strategy for the China market? What is your view of the long-term development potential of the Chinese market?
Hi, Michelle, and good to be here. Thanks for having me. Well, first of all, I think it's clear that China is an important and strategic market for Ikea. It's a market to contribute to learn from and develop with. We have a long history with China. We started doing business in the 1960s. We opened our first office in the 1990s, and we opened the first store in 1998. And today we have the full value chain present here in China, one of few countries in the world outside of Sweden. And if we look at the investments, it goes into both, of course, in terms of physical expansion. We continue to grow. The latest opening was a fulfillment center in Tianjin that we have to fulfill the north of China. And we have two major projects underway when it comes to stores and joint development together with shopping centers. Next opening in Xi'an in a couple of weeks, and the one after that one in Shanghai in the autumn. And on top of that, of course, it goes into also our digital development, our existing assets, etc., etc. Besides that, like you mentioned, we have also decided to invest in lower prices, 100 million RMB, meaning that we're lowering prices of 500 articles. And it's of course not only about lowering the prices, it's about to take the full philosophy of IKEA. It's about good products, good quality, good prices, contributing to good life at home.
Yeah, and what plans do you have for stores and especially channel expansions in China, such as more online maybe channels? And what are your views on the market outlook for different cities in China, especially first, second, and third tier cities?
Well, we want to be for the many people, and that means further expansion, both in terms of physical expansion, like I mentioned, that we have two major projects underway, the next one opening in Xi'an in a couple of weeks, and the second one in Lincoln in the autumn. But it's not it. We will continue also with the digital expansion in terms of digital platforms, social presence, etc., etc. And then when it comes to the different tier cities, we don't make such a big difference in between the tier of the city. If you look at life at home, it's fairly similar between where people are living. Then, of course, the preconditions around can be a little bit different in terms of weather, in terms of economic levels, etc., etc. And it's, of course, something that we need to take with us, and in terms of how we meet the customers and really provide an attractive and relevant solution, wherever in China that might be, basically.
Yeah. And what new trends in Chinese home furnishing consumption have you observed in recent years in China? And how does IKEA intend to localize its product design and marketing strategy to better meet the needs and preferences of maybe Chinese consumers?
No, very interesting question. It's something that we spend a lot of time on. And I think to start with, COVID has reshaped the role of the home. We see it here in China, but we see it also in the place in everywhere of the world, basically. It's a place to sleep, it's a place to relax, recharge, work, socialize, to mention a couple of things. But it's also a place to maybe start to live more sustainable and healthy. If you look at the consumption trends, it's also that we see on one hand that it's quite rational in that people are looking for a good deal, maybe more than ever before. They want value for money. But we also see that when it comes to value, it's something that is also, let's say, broadening it in its meaning. We go from we see a market that has been quite functionally focused in terms of functional value, but it's now also looking for emotional value, personal value, social value, in terms of taking a stand maybe on how they want to live. People want to live more healthy and sustainable. Our response is, of course, like I mentioned, that we have the full value chain present here in China. It gives us opportunities in terms of taking our passion and knowledge of life at home and taking that into also developing many good ranges and products. And we have many good examples of this. Also products that have been developed maybe for the Chinese market, but have also been global successes, like the gaming range, for example, and other similar products.
Indonésané tvrdí, že vypouštění japonské jaderné vody vede ke globálním problémům. Japonsko se chystá 28. února zahájit další kolo vypouštění kontaminované vody z elektrárny Fukušima. Předtím bylo za 3 měsíce do Tichého oceánu vypuštěno více než 23 000 tun kontaminované vody. Agentura CGTN Stringer se vydala do indonéských ulic, aby na toto téma vedla rozhovory s lidmi. Místní obyvatelé vyjádřili silnou nespokojenost. Jednání odsuzují a obávají se také možných zdravotních problémů způsobených znečištěnou vodou. Někteří lidé uvedli, že se nejedná pouze o domácí problém, ale že to ovlivní celý svět.
Yes, I read about it before and I'm kind of concerned about all of this because the scale is going to be bigger than previous one.
I knew about it, I didn't know how much, but regardless of how much, it's a terrible substance. If you dump it in one ocean, it's going to affect the entire world. It's going to kill sea life. There will be no recovering that imbalance from that sea life, and that's just the prospective future. We have no idea how much worse it could get. There's no way that you can believe that claim.
I don't believe it because even though it will not affecting us directly, it will harm the marine ecosystem due to the large amount of radioactive waste.
Kalau dibilang percaya atau nggak percaya sih 50-50 ya. Soalnya kan ya emang Jepang itu kan teknologinya bagus ya dan mungkin aja dia sudah mengolah dulu. Tapi kan ada kemungkinan adanya human error ya, yang mungkin limbah tersebut tidak tidak tersaring atau tidak terfilter lah dengan baik seperti itu.
Pastinya dong Jepang harus mendengarkan pendapat-pendapat dari negara lain karena ini tuh bukan masalah domestik Jepang aja, tapi berpengaruh ke laut yang juga itu notabene milik bersama.
Kalau menurut saya hal itu harus dipertimbangkan, soalnya kan kalau melihat dari situasi dunia ini ya, globalisasi ini, dunia ini kan terdiri dari air ya, di mana orang-orang pada mengonsumsi seafood dan lainnya, jadi itu emang harus dipertimbangkan.
Tentu saja menurut saya harus mempertimbangkan pendapat dari negara lain, karena itu bisa mempengaruhi keharmonisan antar negara ya. Jadi sangat perlu untuk berkomunikasi dengan negara lain. Jadi apakah negara lain sependapat atau tidak? Jika ada kritikan harus didengar oleh Jepang gitu. Karena laut ini kan laut bersama ya, bukan laut milik Jepang saja.
Yes, absolutely, and not just the Pacific Rim, the entire world. I think every country, especially the ones that are not landlocked, the ones that are on the ocean, should have a say in this decision. I don't know of a right answer, but dumping it into the ocean is not the right answer.
Yes, because Indonesia is one of the countries that located off in the Ocean Pacific, so it will affect the marine lives. And since our country is archipelagic countries, we consume a lot of seafood, so it somehow will affect our lives.
Mungkin emang bakal menggiring persepsi publik tentang seafood ya, makanan seafood yang mungkin berdampak ke industri perikanan dan pariwisata gitu.
Menurut saya sih mungkin bisa mempengaruhi, namun mungkin bukan dalam jangka dekat. Karena kan limbah tersebut kan mungkin dia emang agak susah terurai kan, makin banyak mungkin berpengaruh pada ekosistem laut seperti seafood dan lainnya. Dan kita sendiri kan mengonsumsi seafood seperti itu, jadi mungkin berbahaya untuk kesehatan tubuh kita.
we're very sorry. It's not a fight, it's not a war. We want to get on the same page and communicate.
Tuniská pobřežní stráž zachránila 63 migrantů poté, co se jejich loď potopila u tuniského pobřeží. Záchranná operace proběhla u ostrovů Kerkenach v jihovýchodní provincii Sfax. Pobřežní stráž rovněž nalezla jedno mrtvé tělo. V roce 2023 tuniské úřady zmařily více než 6 000 pokusů o nelegální migraci.
Despite the relatively short distance between the coasts of Tunisia and the Italian island of Lampedusa, many migrants have drowned due to bad weather and unseaworthy makeshift boats.
The rescue operation is underway, but it could be hard to find survivors after spending a long period in cold water. The small flimsy dead boats made by human traffickers were hammered by strong currents and high winds near the coasts of Tunisia.
In 2023, Tunisian authorities foiled over 6,000 irregular migration attempts. As part of its humanitarian role, the Coast Guard carries out dozens of rescue operations per month, but its efforts to provide assistance and combat irregular border crossings are hampered by growing criminal activities.
In 2023, more than 75,000 people attempted to cross the sea illegally. In 2022, our units rescued more than 35,000 immigrants. The National Guard's maritime and land units, as well as intelligence services, succeeded in foiling the operations in the sea or on the land borders. Over 80% of our activity was characterized by search and rescue operations.
The National Guard has dismantled many international criminal networks specialized in human trafficking. The networks facilitate illegal entry of sub-Saharan migrants into Tunisian territory. The undocumented migrants settle in the port city of Sfax before crossing the Mediterranean to reach the Italian island of Lampedusa.
Most of the human trafficking activities take place on the land border with neighboring countries. National Guard units have recently dismantled transnational criminal networks operating in the countries of origin, the country of transit, and Tunisia. Tunisian nationals, as well as sub-Saharan Africans, are involved in this criminal activity.
According to the Interior Ministry, many irregular migrants have built metal boats themselves in an attempt to cross the sea. They usually choose Sfax, where they work in the craft import industries, while waiting for their turn to attempt the risky journey. Many migrants who arrive in Europe share videos on social media encouraging others to sail from the coasts of Tunisia and as a result promote the activities of human trafficking networks. The testimonies, however, do not show how the dangerous crossings often end in tragedy. Abden Shawishi, CGTN, Tunis.
Nigérie ve snaze zmírnit zátěž spojenou s prudce rostoucími cenami plynu na vaření zakázala vývoz.
The impact on businesses is evident as mobile cooking gas vendor Chikodi Ede faces a drastic drop in demand from over 1,600 to less than 1,000 kilograms monthly, all due to rising costs.
I've lost so many customers because of this increment of gas issue. I've lost so many customers, and it makes me now what I'm earning before. I'm not earning it anymore because I've lost some customers based on the increment of the gas.
As prices doubled in the last year, residents share the struggles of affording this essential commodity.
I couldn't even afford to buy half of my cylinder. I ended up buying a quarter, which is just 3 kg.
10 kg now is 12,800. It really affects me. In fact, I feel like to share tears here.
To address this crisis, Nigeria has decided to halt LPG exports, aiming to boost domestic supply and bring down prices.
All LPG produced within the country will have to be domesticated. And when this is done, the volume will increase, and of course the price will automatically crash.
Despite being a significant exporter, Nigeria's move to ban LPG exports has been praised by experts like economist Uche Waleke.
So when it's available, the price is likely to come down. It's also going to cost government, some forex. But in the meantime, the whole idea is to help bring down the price of gas.
Before this decisive move, The government had scrapped the value-added tax on imported cooking gas in December of 2023. Experts have emphasized the need for consistent policy implementation to boost local LPG production. Nigeria's ban on LPG exports marks a significant step in addressing the soaring cooking gas prices. As the government prioritizes domestic supply, the hope is clear: a more affordable future for households and businesses alike. Kelechi Amekalam, CGT in Abuja, Nigeria.
Koordinační mechanismus financování nemovitostí v čínské provincii Guangzhou urychluje vydávání tzv. Bílých listin. Zrychlení mechanismu financování městských nemovitostí v Guangzhou má pozitivní vliv na trh, můžeme mluvit o meziměsíčním nárůstu přibližně o 50% až 60%.
The acceleration of the urban real estate financing coordination mechanism in Guangzhou involves the establishment of the government bank enterprise communication platform to foster collaboration between real estate development firms and financial institutions. What advantages will this initiative offer to individuals and businesses?
大概有50%的增长，有这个数据。
Overall, in terms of market recovery in Guangzhou, confidence has increased significantly. Compared to December last year, we can see that the consultation data in background has increased in straight line, with month-on-month growth about 50 to 60%. As for companies, in terms of financing, obstacles have decreased significantly compared to before. After release of the whitelist, it has become much easier for companies to obtain social financing, and developers are more proactive.
As per the China Index Academy's monitoring data, both transaction volume and demand in first-tier cities have notably surged prior to the holiday period. Specifically, Guangzhou has witnessed an 87% year-on-year increase in new home transaction area.
The unprecedented 25 bips cut by the PBOC in mid of February was definitely a continued support by the authority to the real estate development market, especially the residential sales. And we think before that, we already see a series of measures to support the reasonable financing needs of the developers.
The day after the first batch of whitelist for real estate project financing in Guangzhou was released, a real estate company in Guangzhou received a 50 million yuan project loan from the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, resolving the urgent need for the project company to pay construction funds and distribute wages of migrant workers before the Spring Festival.
从我们看到这种利好来看的话，比方说白名单。
From what we see as a positive sign, for example, the whitelist currently only include 47 projects, most of which are from before 2021. In Guangzhou, we can see that there are about 200 projects that entered the market after 2021. So in reality, this means that the whitelist can continue to expand in the future.
As of February 8th, in addition to Guangzhou, commercial banks across the country have cumulatively issued loans to 83 projects in 27 cities, totaling 17.86 billion yuan. Many banks have stated that while accelerating to meet the financing needs of whitelist projects, they will increase investment in the construction of 3 major projects, strengthening financial support for rigid and improved housing needs. Radio CGTN, Guangzhou.
Děkujeme, že jste sledovali náš pořad. Nashledanou u dalšího dílu magazínu Svět okem Raptora.